Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm reviewing some of my solo gameplay, and when I review my gameplay I really like to look at my engagements or strictly things you can learn from. So that means there's not going to be much time of me running around, and it's going to be basically just straight engagements. So as you can see here, my first kill is just on somebody who didn't have a gun, but this allows me to then go down to divot and loot, considering the people behind me had a pretty good set of guns and they were already fighting it out. So I didn't really want to mess with that, as I only had a pump. So I like to have like an AR and SMG at least early game, so that I have something to follow up with. Now, I didn't think anybody landed divot, but it turned out somebody did. And I knew they weren't a great player, considering that I picked up their footstep audio, but they didn't pick up mine. So I do take a pretty dumb AR fight there, but I do follow it up with my shoot and then build. And this allows me to shoot and hit them, but their bullets aren't going to hit me, they're instead going to hit my builds. So this clip comes a little bit later. I have 100 health, 100 shield, and I also have 500 mats. Now this is still pretty early game. This guy definitely didn't have as much time as me to loot up and shield up, considering a couple people contested the drop. So it's a pretty easy push for me, and I already have him at white. And at this situation I go for a cone, but I didn't have the right angle. So I knock out his single ramp that held him up, and I go for a pump shot out of the air. Since he cannot build while he's falling to protect himself, it was a pretty easy kill. As much as I hate planes, I do use them because they're pretty good for finding engagements, and they're pretty crazily OP. As you can see here, I just ran through the entire house. Right here though, I do miss a couple shots that I should have hit, and that's a great way to like open up a fight by getting a couple AR bullets in there. But as you see here, I place on a pyramid and immediately edit it, because this stops the other player from placing down his own pyramid to protect himself. But as you can see, I'm not really getting lucky with a floor replacement, and that's because I do play on central. My ping is a little bit higher, and I should have spent a minute pickaxing this guy's floor because he wouldn't make any other play to get out. So I did cut, and eventually I do grab a floor replacement, and the most important thing about this is to quickly edit before the person has a chance to realize what's happening. So here you can see me using the plane again to find an opponent. However, what I do different here is I boost and then get out, and this is kind of the way to bait your opponent. See, him shooting at the plane still allows him to think that I'm still in there. And I was trying to hide my glider sound, but I didn't do a great job because of all the trees in the way. So I didn't really do great on that, as the bait may have worked a little bit better. But you can see me kind of turtling up trying to get that rocket reload, as an RPG is insanely overpowered. Now, we do end up getting third party, but I do hit him with the RPG, which as I said is pretty overpowered, and then just followed up with an easy pump shot. So I end up getting that kill, and I'm now immediately turning my attention to the third partier. I have nothing to heal with, and I didn't really get hit, but I don't have like a big shield or anything. So there's no need for me to attempt to heal, which is good. So I then go into another fight, and he ends up cracking me pretty good. So at this point, I want to just kind of either get a really quick pump off on him or disengage and kind of heal up. So that's what I do here. I end up reloading my RPG and going for a couple minis. Now on the way out, I want to RPG his build down and try to reset the fight, because if he has high ground, I'm at a disadvantage. So I keep putting some pressure on him, and this is a shot that I like to take a lot because not many people expect me coming around from the side, and if you can hit them while you're in the air, it's pretty easy to finish them off. Alright, so at this point in the match, I really hadn't seen many engagements, so as soon as I heard shots, I was immediately on it. Now, I'm coming up with the third party, and I just immediately go for an RPG, but this player was actually a really good player, and he was able to kind of react fast enough. As you can see here, we're going to do a little build fight, and I accidentally coned myself, so I decided, alright, I'm going to take a second, take a step back, and reevaluate the situation. And I like to do this a lot. However, he ends up hitting my build, and I do miss my pump shot, but my trap does finish him off. However, that is one thing that I probably should not have missed, was that shot, considering we were literally right next to each other. But luckily I was fast enough, and it was my wall, so I was kind of lucky with that trap. Now here, I did have a big pot that I got from the drop, but I left it because I had 3 medkits and a lot of minis. So even though the storm is coming in, I know the storm's only hitting for 2 at this point, so I decide to tank it, and I do have 2 more medkits and a campfire, so I go and opt to pop all the shield and then get to circle, as I'll then be 100 after I heal up. So in pubs, I'm not really too keen on winning as much, especially in solos. It's not like my biggest concern. So I do like to put myself in situations where like I might be at a very big disadvantage or something that's uncomfortable to me, just so that I can learn it in a area where I might be better than the other player rather than in scrims and such. So here I end up taking high ground from a player that was above me, and he ended up turtling up, so now I'm trying to apply some pressure to him. However, I am at ultimate high ground in this last circle, so I want to do my best to stay here. Now, we do get third partied, which is no surprise, and right here you can see me full spraying at an opponent. And I do this because, especially late game, I don't want to overexpose myself, as I don't know where everybody in the circle is, and I don't want to get sniped. So as long as I have an angle on them, I'm just going to full out spray, and hopefully Bloom helps me out. And now you can see me here using my ultimate high ground to my advantage and just kind of picking at kids that I can see below me. And again, I really am paranoid when it gets to late circles, so I really do like to enclose myself. As you can see there, I do end up getting sniped. And that one was more so of getting sniped from directly where I was looking, but that is a thing that happens a lot. Now here, the ramp was protecting that player, so I then placed a trap in there on my wall and broke his ramp, protecting him. So there is still another player here, so I still am trying to like stay like aware and such. And again, my central ping doesn't help me out here when I'm trying to replace his walls, but I do know a lot of these builds are mine, so I then go and check that floor because I thought that wall was going to be mine. So I do something a little crazy here because I did hit him for 70. So I do rush in there and I didn't get a really good pump shot off on him. And I luckily got away. And as you can see me scrambling there, I ended up getting that editing glitch where your player will keep moving a certain direction. And at this point, I'm just kind of going for a heal. I'm at 1 health. I need to heal up. And luckily, he stops putting pressure on me for some reason, allowing me to pop a med kit off and then being able to push right back out onto him. And I'm kind of frantically scramming here just because I don't want to get killed. So I do have a second. He fell down to low ground and I'm luckily still on high, so I take my time and pop a couple minis. So at this point there's only 2 players left, and late game I like to try to stay as where as possible, and I know one of them is below me and I'm not sure where the other one is, so I want to keep moving and I don't want to stand still or allow a pretty easy shot off on me, because late game people do like to third party, as it's pretty easy to clean people up. Now here I have 60 health, so I don't want to try to tank this one at all, but I do have to keep moving and keep having like a little engagement with this player. However, I do end up hitting a pretty good shot on him, and it allows me a easy rotation to circle. Now here you can see me doing a ramp rush that I do like, and that is where you edit the ramp towards you, as this will protect you and won't allow players like sneak shots off onto you. Now I end up spying the last player here, and he ended up not building, so it was a pretty easy cleanup to the end of the game. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.